So one of the most fun and probably the coolest part about working on other people's computers, laptops, and fixing things is typically the stories behind them. And here's a entertaining one to say the least. So customer reaches out to me and says, "Hey, can you fix my laptop?" Absolutely. I always say yes before I know what I'm getting into. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, but either way, sometimes it makes good content and helps sharpen my skills. So he says that him and his wife are going through divorce, and that, long story short, he got to keep the laptop. So she goes to give him the laptop, and she gently hands him over the laptop. I was like, okay. So he gets the laptop, and things happen, and this is where we're at. Yeah, that's not gentle, but it is what it is. So pretty much what we're going to have to do on this one is we're going to have to replace this lid. I've already tested the screen. The screen works. Everything on the laptop appears to work fine. So I gave him a quote, and he was good for it. I got on the old eBay, and actually this is one of the screws that had fell out. Thankfully, guys, if your stuff needs repair, keep the hardware. I mean, this saves a lot of headache because hunting down the screws are a lot harder, if not more impossible, than getting the piece that may be broken. So luckily he kept the screws. So very thankful for that. So I got on the old eBay, and I was tracking down a lid, and I got this one. This one was $50. Has the whole nice HP logo. Even has like a nice little sticker to protect that shiny thing, which is pretty cool. Even has the little tape to protect the edges. Very nice. Just gotta remember to take it off. So what happened with that laptop is that if you look over here, you actually have the mounts where the screw goes into. There's 3 of them right over here. Well, I got the one screw that still has this little, I guess, gold capture piece over here, and the other 2 are still stuck in here. So this is pretty much broken and junk. You can try to plastic weld it. I've done that in the past. Sometimes I get lucky, but I just quoted him a new one because it's also bent, and I'll show you that over there. But it's also kind of bent from where it just got, I guess, discombobulated and contorted whatever way or whatever it is. Kind of didn't tell me exactly how it got bent, but sometimes it's good not to know. So we're going to pop this off and try to fix it. So this HP laptop, in case you're wondering, this is the HP Envy X360M convertible. Very nice, top down. Model 15M as in Mary, BP, Boy Paul, 112DX. So looking at it, got some torque action and some Phillips action going on, and I'm already seeing a screw that's out of whack, so maybe they did try to repair this themselves. I don't know. So I got 3 torques over here, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4 Phillips over there. Hopefully that should take everything out. So let's go ahead and get these off. Key to remember, make sure you have some type of a capture tray. I usually use this, the lid that came with the iFixit, not sponsored, but what I'll do is I'll put all the same screws in the same area and kind of create like some type of diagram, mental diagram with these squares. So I'll put all 3 of the torque screws right over here. I'll put the 4 Phillips right over here, and that kind of sets me up for how the lid goes. And then on the top, I might do something for else. Just make some type of mental note, draw a picture, whatever works. That works for me. I know it don't make too much sense, but I've never had any problems. Now, of course, I guess HP decided in their infinite building knowledge that it was a great idea to use different types of screws. Why not just keep them all Phillips or all Torx? Alright, so everything appears to be off. Let's get something to kind of pry this. That wasn't too bad. Little dirty. I'm glad there's no small friends and creatures hanging around. Now we got to get these hinges off, which, from what I gather, it looks like I'm gonna have to take this off and take that off, and then hopefully we should be able to get everything out. Now keep in mind, when you're taking off these lids, they usually have the antennas for the Wi-Fi and the connector for the screen, so you probably have to take those off. And what, from what I can gather, our 2 Wi-Fi antennas are right over here. They're numbered 1 and 2, white and black. And as you can see, our connector for the screen comes right over here. So yeah. So I think what we're going to do first is take this off. Now let's pry this off right over here. They're numbered, so don't have to worry about that or figuring out where they go. So we got these Wi-Fi connectors off. Got 3 more Phillips right over here for the hinge. On this side, pretty much the same thing. Now for our connector, be very careful. This one appears like it pops up, so let's kind of go right over here. There we go. When working on these laptops, just take your time and be gentle. These connectors, they break so easily. Now this connector right over here, that's probably for the speakers. So what you can go ahead and do is you can take a tweezer and pull them out. I'm actually going to try to use my nail and get it from connector. Never pull from the wires. You pull from the wires, guess what? You're buying a new connector, a new speaker, or you're going to learn real quick how to solder. Alright, so that's out. Let's pull this connector out. Has this tape over here, which we could always reuse later. So now there's a wire right over here that's actually preventing me from taking this thing out. But I think, fairly confident, that I could get to these screws right over here, there's 3, without having to rip this whole thing apart. So, yeah, they give you enough room to slide it. I don't have to angle that one a little bit, but I'm not putting pressure or tension on anything that could break. So now let's get this right out of here. Yeah, and we should be able to lift these hinges just like so. Alright, that one's about ready to go. This one's about ready to go. Let's get these connectors right out of this kind of hold down, I guess some type of wire management. I don't know what they call these things. And let's see if we can slide this out. Alright, we got one more right over here. This connector that I missed. So let's see if we could slide that up. Gently pull the cable. There we go. It is free. Alright, so here comes the fun part, and probably the most nerve-wracking part. We got to separate this broken housing from here. So I'm going to take a look at this old one, well, the new one. There's no screws that hold it down, but it has like these little tabs right over here, which is probably it snaps into. So considering that this is already broken, I guess what we're going to try to do is continue to separate it as much as we can. Alright, let's pull this out nice and easy. Be gentle, because there's probably ribbons in the back that we're not aware of. Alright, so what I'm thinking is, once we take out these 3 screws over here, we should have our prize. Alright, success. Alright, so now we got the old one right over here, so we're gonna have to do some transplanting. So we're gonna have to take off these Wi-Fi antennas, also the camera, and transfer it to this new one over here. Kind of sucks because it could get a little tedious, but I think on this one, now that I look at it, they actually gave us, well, some tape for it. Alright, so let's start with these wires. Try to get them out of here. Okay. So I guess I'm going to start off with this antenna first and gently pull these as much as I can. Now the new one does have this type of tape, so we don't have to worry about using it. This is actually a perfect time to have that Capcom tape, just in case. But I think we should be fine with this. Alright, so this seems to peel right off pretty easy. Yeah, we're good there. So now let's try to get this up here on the new one. Just like so. And let's try to okay. Now the next one is this camera slash Wi-Fi, so let's peel this up. And unfortunately, the new one doesn't have the tape for it, so it must have been from a non-camera, but I thought every new laptop had that feature. So let's go ahead and peel this off. Alright, that came off pretty easy. Alright, so there is a little mark right over here, a little piece of plastic that sticks up. There is a hole right on here, so, and there's actually another one right up there, so now we have our marks to put it exactly where it's supposed to go. So I'm going to get it right there, and then hopefully get this thing lined up. Use this to kind of push the wire down and not cut it. Alright, so everything is mostly lined up where it should be. Now Capcom tape is ideal for this because it is thinner, but this will work, and I just really don't want this thing moving around, pulling it out of its spot up top. So we're just going to put this piece right over here, and at least I'll keep this wire from getting out of whack. Make sure we're all lined up. Alright. 2 out of 3. Let's see if we can go 3 for 3. Alright. Let's pull off the tape. Let's get this last piece of tape off. And we're golden. So now I think what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to mock this up to see if I have enough slack on these wires. If I put the screen on, then I have to deal with the hassle of trying to get it off again. Let's put this on the bottom piece and make sure that these Wi-Fi connectors reach. Alright, so I got it right over here, and all we're doing is just mocking things up, making sure we're reaching, and it looks like we're good. It'll go in through another cavity and crevice over here. The other issue you can have is that you can have too much slack, but I'm fairly confident that we're good with what we have, so I'm not too worried about it. Let's pop in these hinges. Got a small problem. I'm missing a screw. I checked the footage and I never had it. I'm gonna put one over here, put one over here. I'm gonna check my junk pile to see if I have something that might work. It should be fine, but not too happy about that. Let me see what I have. Yeah, I don't have any screws for that. I think it's fine. It feels strong. The issue I have is I do have screws that fit there, but because these are real flat screws on it and they're wide enough, that's actually what holds it down. And I don't want to try to put a washer over here because it could put pressure against the screen and cause an issue. This feels fine. It feels rigid, so I think we should be able to get away with it. I'm just going to give it a little snug. Don't go too crazy because you could break that piece off. Kind of sucks, but sometimes it is what it is. You do the best you can. And I will definitely let the customer know about that. And if he does find a screw later on, I'll come back and put that screw in. Alright, so now for the screen. So what I imagine is that we need to make sure that this cable goes tucked into this little crevice right over here, which I think it moves up, if I'm not mistaken. And kind of the same thing with the cables over here, but I've already taken care of that. And then I believe if we pop this thing down and just apply light pressure, we should be good. I hear snapping, but no cracking, so that's good. I'm not applying a lot of pressure, just very little. You don't want to force this because it could damage the screen. Just going to go around the edges, kind of push everything down little by little. I think we're good. Let's put this back together and hopefully this works. Alright, so the hinges and everything works. Seem to be good, so let's go ahead and let's turn it on. I didn't completely screw in the bottom piece, primarily in case we have to go back in there. So let's flip her on. We're loading. Let's get some colors. So alright, so it's doing the whole Windows update, but for the most part, I don't see no cracks or any discoloration on the screen. So everything works great. So let me wrap this up. Alright, so laptop's up and running. Everything looks good. No cracks, no funny lines, discoloration, and everything seems to be working properly. I like working on laptops in the sense that nobody in my area wants to take them on and do it. I guess primarily because they're so meticulous. And when I say easy money, I say it in the fact that there's a lot of opportunities to pick up work if you're good on working on laptops. I ain't no expert by no means, but I'm always willing to take a gamble. And I always let the customers know, laptops are delicate. There's always a chance for something else to break. You know, it's kind of your own risk. And a lot of the times they'll go for it because nobody else wants to chance it. They'd rather take the risk and gain more in the fact that the laptop's fixed versus having to buy a new laptop. So it's a gamble. I'm not a fan of doing it, but I do it because, number one, I like helping people. Number two, why not make a couple of dollars in the process? So another thing to note, and maybe you guys will probably gig me on it, when you're working on these laptops, it's also a good idea to take out the battery, and I should have done that first. You just want to make sure that you don't have any type of electrical voltages and amperages and any other images going through it, because you can short something or create another issue and fry a laptop. I've done it before and I've yet to learn on that, so just being transparent and just giving you that advice. So hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see what we'll come up with next.